Fantastic hard rock record on Billboard's Lost 45. Forgotten. Lost 45 on Billboard's Hot 100, but it rocked. It sure did. The Stars. Well, before I get to that, it's Billboard's Hot 100, November 4th, 1978. You Needed Me by Anne Murray at number 1. Reminiscing by the Little River Band at number 3. Foreigner with Double Vision at number 4. And Hot Child in the City, which went to number 1. Kiss You All Over by XL. I'm sure you remember that one. Ready to Take a Chance Again by Barry Manilow at number 13. Who Are You by The Who at number 14. Some of the standards you might remember from that week back in the fall of 1978. But this, not a standard. It was on Billboard's Hot 100 for just a few weeks. So young, so bad. But the lead guitar, the guitar slavo that opens this record is just phenomenal. That's part of the hook right there. But no cigar. The Stars, some of the members in this band, former members of Looking Glass. This is where it started. Looking Glass. Think Looking Glass. Looking Glass, who had that hit Brandy in the summer of '72. A year later, they had a more minor hit called Jimmy Loves Mary Ann, late summer of '73. And when Elliot Lurie, Lurie, in case I'm mispronouncing his last name, when he left the group, he was the lead singer. When he left the group, there were three other guys in the band, three other guys who were in the band, the keyboard player, Larry Gotsky, bass player, Peter Swivel, Sweval, and drummer Jeff Grobe. They teamed up with a guy named Michael Lee Smith, vocalist, and Brandon Harkins, a guitar player. And they formed a group called Fallen Angels. And that's where it stood for a little while. But in 1975, boy, things really heated up big time. Personnel changes. Larry Gotsky, he left the group. He might have been dropped from the group. Keyboard player. They added a guitar player. Former member of Stories, Richie Rano became a member. 1975. The group tilted from a power pop sound of the Looking Glass to a hard rock sound. Let's dump some testosterone into the mix. And they called themselves Starz. And they got a break. 1975. They met a guy named Bill Aucoin. Bill Aucoin, manager of Kiss. And Kiss, they were up and running in 1975. Their huge hit, I Want to Rock and Roll All Night and Party All Day, in the fall of '75. And Shout It Out in 1976. And speaking of 1976, Bill Aucoin got the Starz a record label. Well, he got them a record contract, or helped them get a record contract with Capitol in early 1976. First album was self-titled. The second album was called Violation. Violation was produced by Jack Douglas, who worked on albums by Aerosmith. He recorded Aerosmith, some of the early albums by Aerosmith, including the phenomenal Toys in the Attic. And he recorded this album. Cherry Baby was the hit off the album. It was, God, phenomenal, catchy, infectious. There was enough hooks in that record to nail the Great Blue Whale, to pull it up. But no cigar, just barely made top 40. Explain that to me. If you remember the record, explain that to me. That was obviously a top 10, a top 20. Cherry Baby, some fond memories of that. That was in the spring of 1977. Third album was Attention Shopper, and We Come to Coliseum Rock. Their fourth album, produced by Jack Richardson, who worked with the Guess Who, producing hit records by the Guess Who like These Eyes, An American Woman back in 1969, 1970. Working with the likes of Burton Cummings and Randy Bachman back in the day. He produced this album, Coliseum Shopper, and it yielded the song let me get the name of that song, So Young, So Bad. Now, one of the reasons why this song was not a hit, there was some suggestive lyrics in this record. Now, understand that in the late '70s, it was loosening up. You can get away with things in the late '70s that you could not get away with in the '50s or even in the '60s. But still, some of the lyrics were a little bit over the top, and I'll Well, I'll read you a little bit of it because I want to keep this as family friendly as I can. But this kind of floored some people. There's a line in here: you should be home playing with your dolls instead of here playing with my. Your daddy's got detectives following but they're getting such a kick out of the things you do and your. Well, yeah, I could see a music director of a top 40 radio station listening to that and saying, we can't play this. Throw it in the trash. And it's not a trashy record. It's a fantastic rock and roll record. The girls at school won't even hold hands, but you're going with a singer in a rock and roll band. Well, that's classic 70s lyrics right there. You should be home doing your history, but you're dancing out and drinking with your fake ID, and I'm sure you probably know somebody who's done that. But anyway, well, let's go to the chart positions. Let's go ahead and wrap up this video. There's many more I want to do tonight. 1978, we are in the fall of 78. Song peaked at number 81. It was on Billboard's Hot 100 for 3 weeks, but this band influenced the likes of Poison and Motley Crue later on, who emerged in the 80s. It's a fine rock and roll record, suggestive lyrics or not. The Starz on Billboard's Hot 100 in 1978 was So Young but So Bad.